Oh, it's a nice little Game Boy chiptune sound. There we go. GigaSword. Let's pick up my controller again. Press F11 to change window size. There's no sound on the title screen, but I'll forgive that for now. My first immediate comment here is that please change that to something else, because F11 is often a screenshot button. F11 and F11 and F12 are more often than not used for screenshotting. So it's generally just like it's really a pretty minor quality of life thing. But F12 by default is a screenshot on Steam, and for other programs, F11 is actually used for window screenshotting. I actually can't remember what I'm using, but oh yeah, so that's pretty much just changing modes between full screen windowed and full windowed. So controls. Controller. A jump, X attack, LB dodge, Y interact. Okay. It's pretty quiet. So there's no volume settings here. So that's interesting. I'm actually looking at my volume meter at the moment. So I can tell straight away, well, this also, I saw it mentioned somewhere as well, but I can tell straight away that this is NES chiptunes done in Family Tracker. It's probably Family Tracker. But I skimmed the Kickstarter, they said it was done in Family Tracker. But the thing with chiptunes is that usually, there isn't really a lot of volume control. It's just done at max volume. And they've more or less just reduced the volume overall in this, rather than maxing everything out, which is nice. It doesn't blow out my ears, and I don't need to like externally reduce the volume. But I also can't turn up the volume, so also nice that they just, I just jump straight into the action. Press Y to stick your sword in the ground. That's a big sword. That's a really high jump. And we have mantling. This LB dodge? It's just a roll, okay. Enemies only hurt you while they are attacking. Okay, so my jump height with the sword is 2 blocks. But my jump height without the sword is 4. Okay. And I am 2 blocks high. Down A, yep, that's easy enough. So my jump height is 2 blocks high, but there is also mantling, which makes my maximum jump height 6. Or potential jump height 6. And we've got wall kicking. We got a key. I probably didn't need a dialogue box for that. Can I like hold my sword out to block? Like if I have a giant sword like this, I might as well just use it as a shield. Like just plant it in the ground to block stuff. Upgrade sword. I can't upgrade sword. Oh, okay. Okay, same. It's just a game without a giant sword. So like when I first saw this on the page, on the list of games, I was thinking, okay, there's this like old Flash game which was kind of a joke game. It's called Ginormo Sword or something, and it was essentially like this old. It was a Commodore 64 style kind of thing. And like when you upgraded your sword, you just made the sword bigger. And that was just it. That was it. So like eventually, like when you had like a level 99 sword, you just had like the entire screen was just sword, and you just load everything down by just like swinging it. So I'm pretty sure this game. I don't really think this game is going to go that direction, but who knows? Maybe it will. So there's a big, interesting gameplay loop here of leaving your weapon behind. And platforming with a vulnerability, like Mario style, in certain places. Can I drop my sword in the air? Seems like a ton. And I can swim, okay. Okay, I'm betting with that platform, that's just to carry the sword. This is a pretty subtle thing, but there's no like auto grab, there's no auto mantle. I need to actually still hold the direction button to grab on when. I think it would be nice if I could, I don't know, like, just have the order of inputs a little bit different so I could do it faster. Okay, so I retrieve my sword there. You know, I know it's the core game, but it's like, you kind of have to wonder, like, why don't I have like a backup weapon? You know? Oop, I can't jump up there, okay. Can't jump up back out. And now I need to go all the way back. You got a key. How does he like not break his arms while doing this anymore? Upgrade sword, okay. I like how it's just a one-hit kill. It's like, of course it's a one-hit kill. Like, oh, not that one. Oh, there's another giant sword there. Grab that. I like my fair share of puzzles. I think this game is adding an interesting puzzle aspect to it. And down I go. Is this boss zone? You can now check the map. I wonder how big this game is. This game demo. It's just a demo. So. I haven't played that one. So. Okay, so I can't close it by pressing B or something. I just need to press select again. Oh, that's a weird looking, like, straight line there, isn't it? Like the border. Okay, so it looks like upgrading's available now. It's 500? What? Seems like I can't throw my sword, no. I can't even drop it in midair. Yeah, I think it would be cool if, like, you kind of expect that I could just drop it any time, you know? Maybe stick it into walls or something. I don't know. There is like a slight double jump there. Like when I do a mid-air attack. Yeah, slight up a bit. Okay, so I can kind of stand at the edge of the platforms. Not as much as I thought. I mean, how does that even work? Sticking my sword in? Can I just swing it? Hey. It's nothing. This looks important. Nope. Okay. Yeah, I'm just skipping enemies now, aren't I? Yeah, they don't hurt me when I walk into them, which makes it an interesting bit of a. Let's just concentrate on the platforming, I suppose. Because like that, it'll be tougher if it was. It looks like everything's color coded, so like anything that's gold indicates something that the sword can be used on, or ought to be used on. Yeah, and I guess I can... Okay, so that's the point of it. A bit of a problem, yes. I think it might have been a better idea to, like, you know, get a smaller sword. What's this? Okay, so that resets the thing. What's that key door that I saw earlier? Key door, blue. Cool, it's color coded. Not even bothering us fighting room. Oh, that's already been opened. Okay, so where do I go then? Already been there. There's the key. Let's see. Yep, knew it. Hit me while climbing up the ladder non-stop. I still need to earn the green ability. This looks like a boss arena. Oh, that's okay. That's a boss block. And death. Okay, so oh, I can't skip that? Okay. So I didn't quite reach anything that resembled a boss or anything like that, so I don't know for sure how long a level is. Like, I don't know how long for sure a game loop would be. But I think I have a pretty good idea on what the game is like. That's the most important thing of all, right? You thought it was bland? Okay. Yeah, and look, I'm going through a lot of demos, and I gotta like draw a line somewhere on how much time I spend on it, and unfortunately, that's the kind of reality I want to like convey here. It's like I need to like get an idea of a game in a certain amount of time. If I like it, you know, I'll go a bit further. It's a really good sign if I lose track of time and just keep playing it. But in other cases, it's like I'm just gonna like keep an eye on the time, like keep like slight tabs on the time, and just say, okay, well, this is about how much time I'm gonna like try something out blind. And I hope that sounds reasonable enough. Now, I mentioned fairly often that I'm not a fan of pixel art games, not unless they're done really well, and that's because a lot of the time they try to like they try to like the reason why they do it that way is because they want to like capture that old art style that was done in the NES era. And since I grew up during that era and studied it quite well, in fact, and I'm fairly aware of what those actual limitations were, like I tend to have fairly high standards when it comes to like whether the pixel art is done well or not. Like, is this accurate enough? It doesn't need to be 100% accurate because that's too hard, but it does need to like retain a lot of the like core elements that made it a bit iconic. And the art is it's good but not great. I think there were two issues that I kind of noticed when going through that. I could start it up again actually to make sure there's something visual here to show. But there isn't really a strong contrast So like all of these colors, there isn't really enough contrast between bright and dark areas. So like if you look at here at the main character, he actually uses some of the same color palette as the background, which means that he actually doesn't pop out enough. Did I just fumble my mic there? But yeah, he doesn't actually pop out enough. Which, and that's something that some people miss. They try to restrict themselves to a color palette, but they forgot about vibrancy and pop out. And here, like his hair and his shirt is actually the same color as the background, and that kind of evenness of color kind of leads to that subliminal feeling of blandness. Like this could like probably just be easily fixed by just reducing the brightness of the background, but you know, that's up to you. I'm not an expert on this stuff really, but yeah, there is this general feeling of like evenness, I think. I'm liking the pixel art though, some of it. There's a bit of inconsistency here though, with the backgrounds being fairly plain, and then there's this richly detailed stuff with outlines to kind of simulate like anti-aliasing and stuff like that. So there's a bit of inconsistency in the richness of detail, which is also an issue with when people are trying to do like NES era graphics. Like these backgrounds are way too plainly colored, and this one actually is too colored, too detailed, because they're actually like there's actually like layers of brightness here right around these outlines. And I think one of the most like that jewel there in the middle as well, that's a little bit too much. I'm not really sure what art style this game is trying to go for, right? Is it trying to like evoke NES era? How strictly is it going to adhere to the NES era? And like if you don't want to adhere to the NES too strictly, then that's fine, you know, that's fine. But for me, like I don't play a lot of these, that's the kind of thing that bothers me. This character as well, like he has shading, like he has like 2 shades of green and 2 shades of blue just for his eyes. And this is from all of the postmortems I've read about other games being made, like this is a common problem for people who are trying to figure out the limitations of NES color palettes in pixel art. Like they either like it's a pretty tricky area where it's like sometimes you have too much color, sometimes you have too little. It just takes a lot of work and iteration and study. But here it's like the character is actually like a bit too detailed, you know, like not only that, but he's using colors to blend into the background, and it's just again, it's just going back to that vibrancy issue. This isn't gonna bother most people, you know, and that's just the stuff I notice. I remember reading this really great post-mortem by the Shovel Knight guys, who reported on their own studies of the NES palette limitations and how they deliberately broke it in some areas because it's just a little, it's 1 pixel out, right? And if they adhered to it more strictly, then you know, that would be annoying. And Retro City Rampage, he also did like a NES port, and he also did a post-mortem about the conversion of sprites. But here it's like, this has too many colors. Like, I'm just looking at this right now, it's like, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 colors in a color palette. The actual NES color palette, I believe, if I remember correctly, had 3. 3 plus transparency, and one of them was usually reserved for outlines, to make pictures pop out more, so it's really just 2. Or maybe it's 3 plus was it 3 plus transparency or 2 plus transparency? I can't remember. And there's also like additional limitations of like of I can't remember clearly, but yeah, there's like too many like single pixels here. But anyway, I'm nitpicking a bit too much here. Did it feel slow to play? A little bit. I think something throwing me off was just the quietness of the music. I had trouble hearing it. Like the overall volume was just low. The default volume was just low. I actually kind of expect it to be too loud when it comes to these pixel art games, and that's because, as I mentioned near the beginning, Family Tracker, there isn't a volume slider. Like you just have fixed maximum volume, and that's it. And yeah, the environments might have been a little bit too large. I think it was still trying to get me through the basic puzzle system of leaving your sword behind and moving onward. Yeah, I don't really hold anything against the slowness of the beginning because I didn't really play much anyway. There's probably something I could say about how it kind of became open a bit too quick. I think I was kind of lost at the end there. I couldn't really figure out how to move forward. But I think those are just issues with the beginning and how the game kind of tried to introduce you to the core concept. Another thing that probably made things feel a bit slow is how the Y button was the interact button, and I kind of just, rather than using it as an interact button, I was kind of just treating it as a drop sword button, because I think in some cases you didn't really need the interact button for some interactions. For example, picking up keys, like you didn't really need to close that text box, did you? Or did you even need a text box? And in some cases you could probably like swing your sword and instead of using interact with it. They're pretty minor things, but yeah, having a separate interact key, I think then like kind of makes it feel less connected to the sword itself. Like there are some cases where you just interacted things directly when you left your sword behind, but I would have actually liked more interactions with the sword. And more like direct control over it. So, I'm trying to be quite careful here, like with what I'm saying, because like I don't want to like when giving feedback, it's kind of difficult to. It's very tricky to kind of accidentally come off as, oh, you should actually do it this way instead, and I'm trying to be a bit mindful of that when I'm trying to comment on this at the moment, because, well, that's not useful feedback, But yeah, like my main mental thought when going through this game and the Y button was that I wasn't really thinking of it like an interact button. I was just thinking of it like a drop sword button. And like I used it to interact in some context, but not much else. But yeah, I think those are my main comments. There's not much in the way of options. I would have liked a volume option. That's pretty basic, because the music in general and the game in general was pretty quiet. Yeah, apparently this is made by one guy, which is a pretty nice thing, actually. It's pretty cool to see that he's actually managed to make this much. But it probably needs, like it's a demo. I don't know when it's meant to come out, but it probably needs a bit more work. So I would probably be a bit neutral on this at the moment, although I'm kind of biased against these pixel art games anyway. So I didn't really see anything exciting. Like I didn't really see like a bit of a teaser towards a boss. So this beginning was pretty slow going. Like the levels were just, I don't know if this was kind of trying to go for like a stage system or Metroidvania. I think it's trying to go more like a Metroidvania thing. But yeah, I didn't really see any kind of strong combat gimmick based around the sword. So, and I didn't see that within, what was it, 20 minutes? So, yeah, like there's just, it just felt, I don't want to use the word slow because that's not descriptive, but, yeah, needs more work. I think that's my general summary of how I feel about it. But like I said, I'm not really sure how far in the development it is. But those are my general feelings. So, yeah. What else is there? No, I don't think there's much else to say about this. But yeah, it was really interesting core concept.